Problem number 21. Solve these equations and inequalities. So for the first one, absolute value of negative 3t plus 12 is equal to 15. So there's two possibilities here. This says that either negative 3t plus 12 is equal to 15, or it says that negative 3t plus 12 is equal to negative 15. So this absolute value equation turns into two separate equations. And so let's solve each one of these in turn. Subtracting 12 from both sides, negative 3t is equal to 3. So t is equal to negative 1. And we see here that we plug in negative 1 up here. Negative 3 times negative 1 is plus 3, plus 12 is 15. The absolute value of 15 is 15. On the other hand, we could have negative 3t plus 12 is equal to negative 15. Subtracting 12 from each side gives negative 3t is equal to negative 27, or t is equal to 9. So plugging up here, negative 3 times 9 is negative 27, plus 12 is negative 15. The absolute value of negative 15 is positive 15. So there are two possibilities here. T is negative 1 or t is equal to 9. For the second one here, we need to solve the inequality. Absolute value of 9 plus 4x is less than 4. So what this says here is, okay, so absolute value of 9 plus 4x is less than 4. What we really need is that 9 plus 4x needs to be between 4 and negative 4. If we subtract 9 from everywhere here, we end up with negative 13 is less than 4x is less than negative 5. And so dividing everything by 4 here, negative 13 over 4 is less than x is less than negative 5 over 4. And so what to do here, x is between negative 13 over 4 and negative 5 over 4. Writing this in interval notation, x is in negative 13 over 4 to negative 5 over 4. Okay, finally, for part C here, we want absolute value of 2 plus 4x. We want this to be strictly larger than 1. So, this breaks into two cases. We can just have 2 plus 4x to be bigger than 1, or we could have 2 plus 4x to be less than negative 1 here. If solving this one, 2 plus 4x is bigger than 1, subtract 2, we get 4x is bigger than negative 1/2. Divide by 4, x is bigger than negative 1/8. So as long as x is larger than, hold on a second, I made a mistake here. What's the mistake? That shouldn't have been negative 1/2. That should have just been negative 1. My apologies. And so x can just be strictly larger than a quarter. X needs to be strictly larger than a quarter to satisfy this inequality. Over here, if we have 2 plus 4x is less than 1, again, subtract 2 from both sides. 4x is less than negative 3. Divide by 4, x is less than negative 3/4. So on a number line, here is negative 1/4, negative 3/4. Here is negative 1/4. So the allowable values of x are either x is bigger than negative 1/4 or x is less than negative 3/4. Writing our answer in interval notation, this is negative infinity comma negative 3/4 union negative 1/4 comma infinity. So that's how we take care of this kind of problem. Related problem, here we have an interval. I is the interval from 31 to 132. So first off, we were asked to find the length. Is just 132 minus 31 is 101. For part B, for the midpoint, all we have to do to find the midpoint is it's 31, the left endpoint, plus half of the length. 31 plus 101 over 2. 101 divided by 2 is 50.5. We want decimal notation here. So the midpoint is 81.5. And then part C, express I using absolute value notation. So what's going on here? We want X. We're going to use half of the length and the midpoint here. So the distance from X to the midpoint, absolute value of X minus 81.5 is the distance from X to the midpoint. This needs to be less than half of the length, 50.5. I would suggest, try to reverse engineer things, do what we just did on these slides, on this slide right here, and see that you get back to the interval from 31 to 132. Okay, that's problem number 22. Let's do one more problem in this video. Problem number 23. Find all solutions in the interval from 0 to 6x to that equation. So the equation here is sine of x over 3 times cosine of x over 3 is equal to 1/4. So the trick that we need to remember here is the following identity. It's the identity that says sine of 2 theta is equal to 2 sine theta cosine theta. And so what we have here is that we're thinking of theta as, replacing x over 3. So this is sine theta cosine theta, and we divide both sides of this by 2. 1/2 times sine of 2 theta is sine theta cosine theta. Okay? So we can replace sine of x over 3 times cosine of x over 3 with 1/2 sine of 2x over 3. And that still is equal to 1/4. Multiply both sides by 2. Sine of 2x over 3 is equal to 1/2. Okay, so now the equation has become what values of x give us sine of 2x over 3 is equal to 1/2. And we want x in the interval from 0 to 6 pi. So when is sine of something equal to 1/2? Well, we should know that sine of pi over 6 is equal to 1/2. We should also know that sine of 5 pi over 6 is equal to 1/2. And then we can add on integer multiples of 2 pi to the argument here to keep getting more angles where sine of the angle is equal to 1/2. So for example, sine of add 2 pi to pi over 6, you get 13 pi over 6 is 1/2. Sine of 5 pi over 6, add 2 pi to this, 12 pi over 6, you get 17 pi over 6 is equal to 1/2. So this is how we can churn out as many values of sine of theta that give us sine of theta is equal to 1/2. So let's figure out what x is in each of these cases. So 2x over 3 is equal to pi over 6. That would give us x is 3 pi over 12 is pi over 4. The next one is 2x over 3 needs to be 5 pi over 6. Multiplied by 3/2, 15 pi over 12 is x, and that would be 5 pi over 4. The next one after this, 2x over 3, would be 13 pi over 6. So x would be, in this case, 39 pi over 12, which simplifies down to 13 pi over 4. And 2x over 3 is equal to 17 pi over 6. So x is going to be 51 pi over 12, which is 17 pi over 4. So far, let's see here, we need x to be an interval from 0 to 6 pi. So this is 0.25 pi, 1.25 pi. This one here is going to be 3.25 pi. This one is going to be 5.25 pi. And I think the next one would be, I think this is the last one in the interval from 0 to 6 pi, because when we try to do sine of, let's see, next up would be 25 pi over 6. So we add 2 pi to this angle here. That would be 1/2. If we do 2x over 3 is 25 pi over 6. X would equal to 75 pi over 12. And that would be 25 pi over 4. And that would be like 6.25 pi. And I think that's a little bit too big for us. So yeah, there are 4 solutions: pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 13 pi over 4, and 17 pi over 4.